Hope everybody's doing well. Um, I might have to get a new laptop or a computer. So today you guys got me on the phone because something's going on with my laptop. Anyways, today I wanted to come on and talk about a couple of things relationship wise that I think are going to be really helpful, and it has to do more so with like how we're approaching our relationship, and so. Um, if we can clarify these two ideas, I think that your relationship gets to take a change for the better because you get a chance to work together versus work against each other. And so let me just kind of set the stage. And I know we're all in different spots in our relationship, but I feel like no matter what, this can help enhance what's going on. So um, when you're in a relationship, a lot of times the hardship that comes up in any given circumstance makes you get defensive and want to try to define what you're doing and protect and say what it isn't. And unfortunately, what that does is it causes your partner in your relationship to not feel seen or feel heard because you get more defensive. So let me give you an example of what that actually looks like. Your partner comes to you and says like, um, I feel really alone. And you're like, man, I've been working hard and I'm doing all these things that I have to do and you don't get it, right? And so you miss a really cool opportunity in that moment because your partner is trying to be vulnerable and share something with you. And it doesn't matter if they're right or wrong. They're sharing an experience with you that I think ultimately can help you guys to come closer together because that's part of how connection is built. And so let's talk about that for a second. Like, what does it look like to actually build connection? To me, the most successful way that we can build connection is for us to be able to um, open ourselves up to each other, receive each other, and then allow that to create goodness for us. And when we shut each other down because of our fear that we're not good enough, and we'll get to that in a second, or our fear that we're misperceived or that we're not being seen ourselves, when we shut each other down, then we don't get a chance to really do the connection. So your partner comes to you and says, "Hey, I feel alone." And you're like, that's not happening. I don't know why you feel alone. Doesn't make sense that you feel alone. And so as you're doing that, you're just shutting them out, right? And so it feels more like you're doing this to them or you're doing like this to them. And when that happens, they feel even more alone. So this is the concern that they have at that point in time really makes a lot of sense. So my challenge to you is to not be that person is who is just at a place where you're saying, hey, you know what, like this is what this real situation is. Instead, ask your partner more about what it is. Ask your partner more about what would actually happen um, if if they said to you, hey, you know what, I feel alone, and you said, "Hey, yeah, I think that that's possible. I want to know more about it." Like, what would happen then, right? So as you do that, I think it starts changing your relationship. And so that's the first challenge that I'll give to you guys is stop shutting your partner out based on the hard things that they give you. And then here's the second thing because it kind of correlates. Probably the reason that you end up shutting each other out is because you feel less than. So we have to do a really good job in our relationship um, to work on changing around the feeling in the relationship. So how do you make your partner feel um, with respect to what they're doing in the relationship? So for instance, with my wife, if I'm to not treat her like a queen, then she questions everything about herself, right? Or I think the flip would be true for you wives listening. If you're not able to treat your husband like a king, like the questions always come up. And so we have to do a better job in our relationships of working hard at elevating each other. And instead of operating from the behavior of what another person's doing, you didn't take out the trash, or you didn't make a phone call to me, or you didn't say I love you. Instead of interacting with those behaviors, interact from who you know your person can be, or the reason maybe even you enter the relationship to begin with. And so the more you interact from those areas, the better the relationship gets. And so now that's two things. If we stack those two things on, one is being able to listen to each other so you can grow connection. And then two, if you're able to treat each other like your royalty and that you mean something to each other, then everything changes. Remember that how we interact with somebody else starts shaping how they're going to behave. So if you treat somebody as if they're nothing, they start interacting in a way that actually becomes that, or they separate from you if they realize they're actually something. So if we start interacting in a way that says, "Man, you're the most valuable thing in my life, and I want to get closer to you and get better at being in this relationship," then everything changes. Okay, so you have two opportunities here to really make your relationship better, and I think the more that you can spend time on that, mm, yeah, you're gonna get to a good place, and I know you'll do well. All right, you guys, if you have any questions, please reach out to me. Hopefully my computer gets fixed. We'll have to see how this video turns out, but we'll talk to you guys soon. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.